It's the third to last week in the NFL season sim. We are approaching the end of the road in the regular season with some playoff implications on the line. So let's break down this NFL Week 16, starting with Thursday Night Football. 31-3, the Packers blow out the Saints on the road and eliminate the Saints from the playoffs, which gives the Buccaneers the NFC South title. Jordan Love ended up playing for this game after, of course, injuring his ankle against Seattle. He went 18 for 25, 176 and 3 touchdowns. Derek Carr, just 158 passing yards and a pick. As I mentioned, the Saints are 5-10 and out of the playoffs. The Packers are 8-7 and still in the hunt with the final 2 weeks to go. We had 3 Saturday games in the NFL, starting with the Ravens and the Colts. 24-3, the Ravens blow out Indianapolis, who fall to 7-8. Anthony Richardson, 181, 2 interceptions. Lamar Jackson played really well, nearly 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, had a rushing touchdown as well, making his late MVP push. The Ravens are 11-4 and have officially locked up the AFC North title. The 4 o'clock game on Saturday, the Bengals went on a last-second field goal and beat the Cleveland Browns 16-14 to put themselves back in the playoffs at 8-7. Burrow, another 300-yard game, threw a touchdown to Jamar Chase. Deshaun Watson went 197, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Nick Chubb had a rushing touchdown on the day. David Njoku had a touchdown, but the Browns are 7-8. They're still in the hunt, but they need to win these last 2 games. And then the final game on Saturday, the Lions win 35-14 and blow out the Bears, who have already been eliminated. The Lions have also already won the NFC North, but they can get the 1 seat in the next couple weeks. 259 and 4 touchdowns for Jared Goff. Him and Lamar Jackson, the 2 MVP candidates, both had monster days. So did Sam Laporta, 117 and a touchdown. Justin Fields played well, 2 TDs and 1 interception. Cole Kmet caught both those touchdowns and had 58 yards receiving. On to the Sunday games. Upset in South Beach, where the Giants beat the Dolphins 27-25 in the first career win for backup quarterback Tommy DeVito, who went 207 and 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley, 119 on the ground, and a big day for Darius Slayton. 265, 2 touchdowns, and a good day for Jalen Waddle. The Dolphins have already locked up a playoff spot at 10-5, so they are good to go. So they have nothing to worry about these final 2 weeks. The Chargers blow out the Panthers for their 3rd win in a row. They win 36-14 and demolish Carolina, who both these teams are already out of the playoffs anyway, but the Panthers can get the number 1 overall pick if the Cardinals win. Bryce Young, 193, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Easton Stick balled out with 210 and 3 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, nearly 200 rushing yards. But the Chargers, who had the number 1 overall pick, are now 5-10. Carolina drops to 2-13. Another upset, this one in Arlington, where the Commanders get the win, 24-16, and knock off the Cowboys, who are now starting to drop some games. This is their 2nd loss in a row. They lost to the Browns last week. Prescott had another 2-interception game. He has 2 touchdowns and 4 picks in the last 2 games. Sam Howell threw for nearly 202 touchdowns. The Commanders' defense had 3 takeaways in this game, which was huge. But Dallas is 11-4. They play Philly for a shot at the division next week. The Jaguars, with their win today over the Patriots, have officially won the AFC South for the 2nd year in a row. They win 31-7 over New England. Mac Jones, 214, 2 interceptions. Talks of Bailey Zappi playing next week for the Patriots. Trevor Lawrence threw for 288, 3 touchdowns, had a rushing touchdown as well. 4 touchdowns for Lawrence today, as Jacksonville is 10-5. They play Indianapolis next week to try and remove them from the playoff conversation. How about the 3rd upset this week? The Vikings beat the red-hot Rams 28-20. As the Rams were on a huge winning streak there, Minnesota ends that. And they beat the Lions and the Rams back-to-back weeks. 256, 3 touchdowns for Cousins. Alexander Madison's return has him with a receiving touchdown. Stafford threw a late pick to kind of end the run. But the Vikings are 8-7 and back in the conversation for a playoff spot. These two had nothing to play for, but it's the Cardinals who beat the Falcons 24-20 in another upset. The Cardinals finally win another game, which gives the number 1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. Kyler Murray, 219, 1 touchdown and interception. Taylor Heineke, 177, 2 touchdowns, had an interception as well. But James Conner with a 2-touchdown day on the ground. Cardinals progressed to 3-12. The Falcons slipped to 4-11 and have a date with the Raiders next week. How about this? A wild game and Brock Purdy's return. The 49ers win 31-24 and knock off the Houston Texans, who no longer have a chance to win the AFC South, but still sit 8-7. C.J. Stroud, 243, 3 touchdowns, and had an interception on the potential game-tying drive. Brock Purdy, 228, 2 touchdowns. McCaffrey had 2 touchdowns, and a great game for him. But Purdy, his return, played very well. The Niners are 11-4, and a win next week can lock up the division. America's game of the week, the Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs on a last-second field goal and get the win to knock off Kansas City from getting the number 1 seat. Buffalo, they can get the number 1 seat as long as they win out or a Ravens loss. 322, 2 touchdowns for Josh Allen. Huge day for Gabe Davis. The Chiefs are 9-6, and if they beat the Broncos next week, win the division. But Mahomes played really well as well, 288 and 2 touchdowns. Speaking of the Broncos, they lose to Seattle 23-13, and the Seahawks have a possibility to lock up a playoff spot next week after that heartbreaking loss to Arizona Week 18. They're 9-6, 197, a touchdown for Geno Smith. Very defensive ball game, but Russell Wilson, 2 interceptions, and a rough day for him. But it's going to be up to him to try and keep the Broncos season alive against Kansas City on the road in Arrowhead next week. So a lot of pressure for Denver. The Jets beat the Raiders 18-16 in a tight game in MetLife. Again, these two with nothing really to play for, kind of like the Cardinals-Falcons game earlier. But Zach Wilson, 289 interceptions, all field goals for the Jets. A win progresses them to 6-9. The Raiders fall to 4-11, 255, 2 touchdowns. Probably the best game for Aiden O'Connell this season. Devontae Adams caught a touchdown, 3 receptions for 40 yards. Good day for Michael Mayer as well, 9 receptions, 91 yards. Sunday Night Football, the Battle of Pennsylvania. The Eagles win by 14 and knock off the Steelers. They play the Cowboys next week, and a win for Philadelphia in that game means they win the division for the second year in a row, as Hurts, 211, 2 touchdowns, had a rushing touchdown. Kenny Pickett threw an interception. Najee Harris had the only touchdown. Eagles are 13-2 and have a chance for the 1 seat in the NFC. Steelers are 8-7 and are fighting for their playoff lives in these final 2 weeks. The Buccaneers on Monday Night Football beat the Titans 27-10. They have already won the NFC South, so from now they are safe. They can only be the 4 seat, though, at the highest. 265, 3 touchdowns for Baker Mayfield, a great day. Will Levis, 186. Derrick Henry had the only touchdown of the night for the Titans, who slipped to 6-9 and are last in the AFC South. But the Bucs, 8-7, they're going to the playoffs yet again for the 4th season in a row, even without Tom Brady. Here are the AFC standings. Just a reminder, in the description below is a document for the Super Bowl sweepstakes. Fill that out to be part of the Super Bowl 8 experience. But it's the Bills and Ravens who have a chance at the 1 seat. Jacksonville and Kansas City can't get there, but they can still get the 3 of the 4th seat. Dolphins have a playoff spot. Bengals, Steelers, Texans, Broncos, Browns, Colts, all in the hunt for a playoff spot. Crazy. 5 teams going to battle it out for 2 spots in the AFC. For the NFC, the Lions and the Eagles are tied for the 1 seat. San Francisco can be only as high as the 3 seat. Bucks can be only as high as the 4 seat. Cowboys have a playoff spot. It will come down to the Rams, Seahawks, Vikings, and Packers for a playoff spot. The Rams and the Seahawks play each other Week 18. The Vikings and the Packers play each other on Christmas next week. So huge matchups in the NFC. Going to be entertaining to see who's in and who's out. This is ASC, signing off.